pulling up the hyperdrive.
so to speak. Switch looks like it's all connected up, so I think we're good to go.
Great.
It is 5:12. Yeah. All right. We're working.
So I've got the Deeps project up. We talked a bit on the last stream about what we were going to do to move Deeps forward.
Mm-hmm.
So we can review where I got with that. It's kind of cool, although we're doing very basic things, but at this point in the project, it's fun to see something change at all. So hopefully that's what we can show you now. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about getting some of the core stuff in play for Deeps. One of the sort of most basic concepts in the game is a depth. So
fitting.
So here we have a depth. I didn't get as far as we had planned. We had planned to get to a point where there was some critter floating around on the screen, and I hate to disappoint in that realm. But we did take a bit of a detour into some of the new rendering, at least new to me, rendering stuff in Unity 6. So this is going to seem very, very basic, but on the right here, I have my camera. So I'm actually moving the camera. This is sort of a proxy for what will happen when you swipe between depth levels to manage the critters in them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just see in the middle here, that's the game view, that the background color is changing. So ta-da, the background color can change as your camera moves throughout space. So
well, we discussed that, and that's like it's a little heavier than that. It's not just that the background color changes. What can change with depth?
I'm underselling it a little bit.
Yes.
So the what's actually happening is we have a volume, and it's kind of driven by some configuration. Mm-hmm. Right now it's in code. So you're configuring the size of this depth,
mm-hmm.
and any number of post-processing effects can be applied to the camera. Again, we don't have anything on screen, so some of these post-processing effects can't really be demoed right now, but the color filter is the one I'm just using to prove that it's working. Color filter is what's going to shift the color, but we can add stuff like grime over the camera. We can do different color tinting. We can adjust exposure and contrast. We can put a vignette around the camera, which I think will look pretty cool when you're at the very deepest depths of your pool. Then things will start to feel claustrophobic as the view gets restricted. And
can you mess with
there's a lot to play with here. Oops, I'm moving. There's a lot we can play with here.
Can you mess with like depth of field? Can you mess with like camera parameters? Well, you could probably just code that up yourself.
That would technically be a different system. So okay, sure, let's talk about that a little bit. The camera itself could be configured, and depth of field is one of those camera properties. And then these volumes are what drive other post-processing effects. These are the new to me graphics features in Unity 6.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a global volume. There's two different types of volumes. There's a global volume, and then there's a local volume. So global is going to affect everything, no matter where your camera is. And then the local volumes are the ones that are cool to me because those can change based on your camera position, and it's not going to just pop from one set of settings to another as you move. It interpolates between them, which is why we can see the color sort of gently shift to this darker blue as we move between the depth levels. And we can configure that in the volume themselves with this blend distance property. Now, and here's the setting for local and global. Yeah, so that's where we've got so far with Deeps. And I'm excited about this new tech and new to me tech. And I think one of the things that we came into this project thinking a little bit more deeply about is the look and feel of it, right? Like Cruft is very, very like, we've got objects rendered in pixels, and that's all we need. But Deeps is a little bit more, it demands a little bit more graphically from us. So Yeah,
It's
so I enjoyed the R&D time. I actually wish I was spending the full day on Friday on this rather than the 4 hours at the end of it. And maybe that's something we should decide to crank up or hold off on now.
I mean, I think it makes sense to stay the course. Um, much as like I love seeing progress on this. Um, each little bit is going to kind of be like its own quantum leap. Um, we've got we're like at that point with Cruft where it will start transitioning into like I'm gonna be sitting here just making levels and chivos and stuff, but I don't think we're there yet.
Okay.
Um, and I mean, I guess with like sort of the what went into last Friday and 4 hours of work on that, I think the next one will be another sort of like big leap forward in terms of like, all right, now we have the space where things will be floating around and get a little guy floating around in there. That sounds like a nice chunk of additional work. Like as long as we are showing consistent, tangible progress to ourselves, like it's all gains.
Yeah.
It's like keeping that one foot in the door on working on more than one thing at a time. I think is A, super important, but B, also as far as we need to go right now.
Okay.
I'm psyched. We have
I love
deeps.
all these names for colors in here. This feels like we're browsing a model paint catalog.
Ultramarine blue was a color long before the ultramarines.
Sadly not a. Oh wait, there's aquamarine, but not ultra. I'm just playing
It's
with
it's why
colors now.
McCrag blue is McCrag blue is you can't really trademark what was already there. That's pretty sweet. So we've got a depths build. Hopefully next time around we got a little thing floating in it, and that becomes like the very core little ember to start huffing on, and making more game out of. And a lot of times it's just that simple.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be nice to kind of put a light touch on each of the pieces we need to get that first loop intact. Because like after I add a critter, it'll be really tempting and really and maybe a little gratifying to come back to this stuff and be like, okay, now I can put some grime textures on the camera. Now I can see how this impacts the way the critter renders a little bit more.
I also think, and I think this concept sometimes gets lost on some teams. Like that's also the reason not to move too crazy fast forward right now. Is that like giving yourself the room to breathe and being like, hey, I got a critter on there. Now I want to go back to this thing and mess around over here a bit. Like the game is in its most nascent experimental, you know, egg that doesn't have any extra organs growing on it yet. This is the time to be able to do that kind of stuff, before anything is really locked down, and let it be like super plastic. I mean, what's interesting dev wise with Deeps as opposed to Cruft is like Cruft had a lot of like, I'm not sure if we want to do this gameplay stuff. Whereas we have a long list of things for Deeps that are just like known knowns. Like if it is not cool to maintain this, outdoor fish tank with anything floating in it, then we're not there yet. There's no point in making the gaminess of it yet. And so a lot of stuff like, like what you just put in last week, like getting something to float around, we have a lot more room to make that look and feel really good from the start, as opposed to Cruft, where it was like, what's a yard, what's a location, when I drag these things, like, what's the action economy on all of this stuff. I think it's cool to work on something else that like practically begs for a more resolute touch at the beginning of just what the environment is like.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely like a fine balance. I don't want to go too nuts on graphics stuff before we really have proven to ourselves that this is the game, right?
But man, if there's a petri dish in which to mess around with it, like this is a good time for it.
Yeah, yeah. In either way, me investing some R&D time in, you know, the new toys that Unity 6 offers me in terms of graphics, like that's going to pay forward no matter what.
Word to your mother.
Should we talk about the release process?
We should. I think we should, considering like we
Crypto.
are we are in it. Like
Yeah,
good. I don't know if you saw my
that's exciting.
my. It is exciting. I don't know if you saw my note on Discord, but like,
The one about the feedback,
no, I threw
because
something.
that's my favorite.
That is pretty dope. Someone referred to it as a cursed amulet of a game, which is super nice. And attached a bug to it, which is like doubly awesome. No, the
Yeah, I don't, and you don't mean that facetiously at all. Like,
no, like it's the whole point of getting this in front of people is to be like, hey, here's this bug that I legit see. But
yeah.
so essentially, what I did this morning is we were planning on pushing a Steam build. I still haven't. Not for the demo, but for like what is presently hidden, the coming soon early access build. And I did a playthrough for a while, and then I restarted. I ran into a bug, which is now listed under shits broke, where if you restart the game, it does not purge the van and start it with the tutorial stuff. You basically
Oh, okay.
start from the tutorial. It spits out whatever was in your van before, and it spits out, I believe, what is supposed to start off in your van for the tutorial.
Cool. I hadn't noticed that. That's a cool bug. So you basically can't actually wipe that, and that makes sense because I didn't add anything that wipes that.
Which means we're safe. It's not acting on its own. There's no AI overlord messing with us.
Yeah. So how tell me more about this, because I'm not going to put Discord up on the stream. What do you expect to be the method of wiping your meta progress? So kind of to go back under the hood of what's happening here, we have a type of progress system called meta progress now, and it it tracks what you're transferring through your van. It's bigger than a game, so it's not stored. The storage class is different than like where my things are in my yard, or what state my shop is in, etc. Right? So it's supposed to be sort of permanent.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that there is a way that I'm supposed to expose to the player to reset this stuff, right?
So here's my thoughts on this to start, and it's a bunch of either or statements, and some of it is like maybe later we do more with this, but I would expect if you have completed the tutorial that you never see it again. I would expect if you hit new game, having finished the tutorial, it is just going to bring you to the ooh, that's a little bit problematic. You won't have enough starting money. At the very least, well, here's the state we can't have, where it tries to get you to do the tutorial, but the tutorial's out of whack. I don't personally have any reason to return the player to the tutorial after they have done it once. There's not actually a legit reason to new game other than shit's broke. Like, I don't think there's actually a start from scratch reason to go back to the beginning. And I'm going to leave that open for debate or poking holes in that idea. If I go through the tutorial and I go through and I play a couple levels, now I'm at a spot where like I can't. How have I? Everything is additive. I'm getting more stuff. It's plugged into like achievements and things like that. Not that I worry about whether or not we could decouple Steam achievements, like making sure you don't get them twice. Um, if there is even a reason to do that. But what I'm saying is that like I don't know if this game has a new game reason right now.
Yeah, the way I think about it is like if uh, if I share the family computer with my brother and he wants to start from square one, right? Then I would want to be able to delete, I guess, all of the tracking that I've done here. But like Steam doesn't quite work that way, right? Like,
Well, I mean, you could I mean, what do you mean Steam doesn't quite work that way?
well, it's my Steam account. It's not my brother's Steam account.
Yeah, but like even then, like I mean, the argument you're making is if your brother was to sit at your computer and want to start it from scratch. I mean, some of this is very fundamental. Like games have always had a way to just start over. Um,
Right.
and so what I would expect out
but we're dealing with a game that has starting over in a limited way is part of the loop.
it's true. What I'm getting at though is that like if we are going to have a start over, then I would expect it to clear all of your achievements. At this point, I would expect it to clear all your achievements, start you fresh at the tutorial at the very beginning, total clean slate. Um,
Yeah, and like that's kind of crazy, clearing all of your Steam achievements.
well, no. That's not. That's you don't clear Steam achievements.
That's sort of what I mean by like Steam doesn't really support that idea of like
Well,
a different person coming into a game, you know.
Okay, so with that said, like there would be no reason to clear Steam achievements. You'd
Yeah.
clear Chivos, and they
Sure.
would and
those
they would
things are linked. Those things are linked
but,
though, which is why I bring it up.
right. What I'm saying is they would fail to add that you completed an achievement when you got the Chivo, but you still get the Chivo now.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm not going to argue about mechanically. I get what you're saying.
Okay, sweet. So I think like if we're gonna have it in there, and we probably need to, then it just needs to be a full wipe. And no matter what, as a developer, I need a full wipe.
Well, you needing a full wipe is different than needing to expose a full wipe to, you know,
it is.
a paying player.
All I'm saying is that like removing the button right now would be extremely bad. Not that there isn't a way to do it. I just think that if someone does want to start over from scratch, which there is like valid, like, hey, I'm going to start off with nothing and try to do a different path. If someone really loves this game, that's fine. What my expectation would be is they would start from the top of the tutorial, everything would be cleared out, and that'd be that. Remove this line of turn your videos into live streams with blah 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 blah. So silly. Housekeeping. No, it's not made for kids. We have the pig as our icon now on
That's awesome.
our YouTube streams. Big marketing.
Okay, so do we want to fix this sort of meta progress resetting bug before doing another push?
I think at the very least you get into a very weird state if we don't fix it.
But why? Because
if I request feedback on the tutorial and someone has done it already, they cannot give me feedback on the tutorial that I can keep.
nobody has done the tutorial already.
Until they've done it once.
Yep.
that's my point. Is that like
I mean, like any player, anybody who has been testing the demo so far is not playing the demo anymore. Like this build won't be a demo. So there's nobody with existing games right now for the main
it's good to see you, Auditor.
Steam ID.
Well, okay. So people have played builds out here. So there's some we may have to do some data purging no matter what. Because the non-demo thing has been out there.
But who's downloaded?
Anyone that we gave a key directly to,
Oh,
long before the demo was playing, before we even had a demo build, was playing the main build. Regardless of that, even if they were clean, and we put a build up for folks to bang on, they get one shot through the tutorial, and then they can't go back and play the tutorial without it being tainted.
So do you just want the new game button to wipe my meta progress that includes unlocked stuff and van content?
And absolutely gives me the new van content. Yes, I think new games should be like, I downloaded this game for the first time, or more accurately, as if I deleted it from Steam and then reloaded it. So I would still keep any achievements I have. I would not keep any Chivos I had.
Okay.
Can you do that in one line?
No.
What if you just kept typing?
I mean, okay, fine. I shouldn't do it. Not if I want to ever read that line of code again. All right, that's not. Sorry, I'm gonna make you watch me do this.
That's all right. I'm down. Like this is a working meeting where legit stuff gets resolved. We make very good use of our time. And coding live brings back memories of scripting under pressure from the 745 days. When I used to hold a Nerf gun to Trevor's
head. You
head.
didn't script under pressure. It was you applying the pressure to the scripters.
I'm not scripting under pressure right now either.
I know. Some things never change.
That's right.
Okay, what am I doing now? I'm looking for where this function needs to be called. And it's probably similar to where this function has been called. In the main.
So going further into the actual process, is that what we do when I put together a Steam build is I grab whatever the latest thing is on. We use Fork to, or I at least use Fork to manage Git stuff. So wherever the build's at, I make a local build of it. I double click that exe. I play for a while. Generally speaking, it's not a full regression. In the case of this morning when I did it and ran into this stuff, which wasn't so much a bug as like an unresolved, what do we want to do here?
Yeah, like
it.
Cheers. We were like, is that right? Maybe it's right. Okay, and then we fixed it.
And a lot of times it just takes like a chat like this to really verbalize, especially with someone else that like it has their hands as dirty, to like check what you're saying about, because we could have resolved this any which way. But the point is, I played long enough to be like, I'm going to start a new game over and just do a couple things differently in the tutorial, and like ran into this weird state. If I hadn't run into that stuff, then after about like, I try to play the game for about an hour. It tends to go over that a little bit before I send something to a build. There's little things that I do, like I change the sprite that's falling out of the back of the van on the loading screen, because that's a very easy cue for us to know what build people are on and know if it actually worked. So I could tell right now that by watching Will's screen that I have local changes that I didn't check in, because he's got sake coming out of the back of
Oh,
his
well,
van.
I also didn't pull.
Yeah,
So.
well, but I can see that I haven't pushed, and
Okay.
9 times out of 10 that is a me thing and not a you
Well,
thing because you're.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. So let's see.
Sure.
Let's see.
That's good.
Banana.
I'm just testing now, so I'm gonna put stuff in my van, and then I'm gonna go restart the game and hit new game, and hopefully my smattering of van items are dead.
Big green screen.
Green screen. All right, I think from this point now I can choose a new game. And if it deletes it, it'll tell me in the logs that it deleted some stuff. Okay, no van stuff has appeared. Deleting craft, location shop, stats, deleting metafile, global, and settings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that might be deleting your settings. That might be
Oh,
awkward.
settings.
That might be awkward. So settings is just what.
Yeah, definitely. It can't mess with the. It can't mess with the music and sound effects. That's just
Yeah,
something we'll have to go back and fix.
All right. I don't want to do that.
Pretty solid though. Just getting right in the mix with the spanner. So I'll play the build for an hour, and if I don't run into anything, then I take Steam's got its own proprietary tool for uploading stuff to their servers. I run through that, which is not too bad a process. It helps you make sure that you're not loading something to like a demo build versus a full build, or if you had separate builds for like Mac and PC and all that stuff. Basically, run this tool and send things to the right repository, and then you go through the Steamworks web interface, and it shows you if you uploaded the thing properly or not. You go through a couple steps and say go live. Beyond that, if you're going to do any build notes around it, you use the same web interface, and so it's pretty smooth if you're like a tiny developer. If you were at a much larger studio, there'd be all kinds of like protocol to follow around your PR around it, around the process of doing it, around testing it. Once I put it up there, before I do any messaging that something new is up there, I update locally through Steam, and I make sure that whatever's falling out of that van is the proper object, which is like the sort of first line of defense that the thing ended up in there and is getting pushed out to users. So it's relatively lightweight. Like if we're up against it and we're like flowing, trying to get new stuff up there, and there's some issues, like I could do several builds in a day if I had to. It's not super cumbersome, which is nice. And Steam's come a long way. I haven't messed with it this much personally ever in the past, but it's pretty dope. Generally, after I push a build and it's live for folks, I will scramble downstairs and ask my wife to make sure she's got the most recent version, and then play it, and then she'll tell me something that I should have fixed already within like the first 5 minutes. So that's always a treat. She's a very good tester. But like that's essentially for like super indie. That's it. Right now our main build is not the demo. Is hidden. There are people with keys. For folks are like on our Discord, and so we can push a build out and be like, "Yo, can you guys check out X, Y, and Z? Hit us with any bugs, any direct feedback on it." We've been out of that loop for a little while. I mean, pretty much since the demo. I may eat these words, but like I'm pretty sure I don't want to do a demo for Deeps. Lots of alliteration there, but if
Talking about Deeps just is so rewarding. It's a sign.
um it like for Cruft it meant a dry run at doing a specific day release, building up to a sense of like at least within one exe completion. um, but it does take a lot to manage two builds. um, so what's broken now whenever I do get this new build up, is that unlike the demo is just like kind of a sandbox. Here you'll play through the demo and then you'll talk to a realtor and you'll leave. And then you get to pick a new yard, and the yards are different. They have different characters with different shops through your phone. The layouts of them are different, and the continuity isn't full yet. What will happen sometime soon in the very near future is that based on what's in your yard when you piece out, you'll get bonuses going forward to subsequent playthroughs. But getting that loop down of people playing in one yard and then going to another one and showing up to that other one with all the stuff that is loaded up in their van from the previous playthrough, that will need to get beaten up pretty thoroughly. So, like that is a place where the game starts to actually loop. Is that I go to a yard, I do some stuff, I have fun, I pack things in my van, and then I go to a new one.
That's
Right now, it's pretty chill. Like it's not as sandboxy as the demo was, but based on what you bring in your van, it opens up like other opportunities. So you could unlock an ebony tree. I think even in the tutorial, if you were a savage. But there's not ebony trees everywhere, and ebony's worth a lot of money. So you could like unlock an ebony tree and pack it with you to go on your next run and start with more stuff. Basically, more money making capability. Or you could get yourself to the spot where, if you wanted to go to Prospector's Pass, which is not like crazy big farming spot, you could have played in a different level where Sarah sells a bunch of different seeds and take a bunch of seed packets with you and be able to grow other stuff there. Potentially, make money or get other achievements that don't exist yet, in a place that wasn't conducive of it. And the hope is that the sort of combinatorial effect is that you play through one level to get to some stuff that gives you a great advantage in a different level, take that with you forward, and sort of keep doing that from level to level. Eventually, there'll be a lot more than 3 levels. Some of them will be locked, and some of these achievement things that you do will unlock levels or characters or recipes. Some recipes will be locked from the start. But right now, the main thing is that playing in one level, packing up your van, and going to another level, that actually works and doesn't have too much anomalous cruft in it. There's absolutely objects that probably should never go in the van that can fit. There's probably objects that can't fit that probably should go in the van. It has not been exhaustively one-to-one place every single object in there that you can. So some of it'll be funny. Like, still not 100% sure if I made it so that mines can't be put in the van. That would be a little bit problematic, is unlocking an iron mine and then just taking it with you in the back of your van wherever you go. Stuff like that.
I thought we looked at that. Isn't it too big? How tall is it?
The tutorial one might not fit. Am I sure
I
that...
broke the tutorial.
Did you?
Yeah. I crafted the blingo inside the van so it didn't see me So then I was able to sell the Blingo, but I'm stuck on the step to put the Blingo in the van.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that's a fun way. Fun way.
And then, of course, we have changed stuff. So, banging on the tutorial in general is good stuff. Fine. Tink.
I mean, so banging on the tutorial in sort of broader ways is more useful than those like scripted details, like the one I just tripped across. No, because like
Um,
there's a whole bunch of revamp that's got to happen there.
there is, but like one of the catches with just being two people is like so some like good qualitative trying to break the game is fun. It is fun. Good to see you, Badger. I like just playing through and being like WTF is up with this thing is super valuable. Um Focused testing around like specific areas is helpful. Is super helpful. And in this case, like that's the main difference right now between this and the tutorial is like, well, it's much more restrictive and like how does it play when you go to a new yard? I don't know. I don't think I actually addressed what you said. Whether or not it's valuable or not to focus on something.
I I'm almost done with this task so that I can focus more thoroughly on what you're saying.
I know.
New game. Don't give me van items. Yay. Okay, I think this is good.
Sweet. There are other elements of it, like there's a couple maps that are 40 by 40 instead of 30 by 30. I might redo the tutorial map. I'm like 90% sure that I will and make it even smaller because just you're not intended to, nor are you given the stuff to just play the tutorial level to the end of time. But there is a lot of stuff still to come on like I don't care right now if the experience feels particularly polished. Um, that is not a focus right now. We're looking a lot more at just like functionality and can you do stuff that you think you should be able to do. It's funny because eventually, and not that long from now, we're going to be super on polish. But
Yeah, but being intentional about when you go into polish work and when you keep your eyes on the prize, right? Like I think that's important. I think it's easy to get distracted
you can absolutely
and
go
spin your wheels where
swimming.
it doesn't matter. Like we got to we got to be careful about delivering functions and features in the right order.
Yeah, polish is like super important. It always runs the risk of like falling off the back of the truck at the end. You just have to be mature about when it's polish time and when it's really not. It is a very different problem to solve with a larger team because you have several efforts in flow at the same time. Like if we had an art team, there would absolutely be art polish going on in this phase. Um, we don't. Like right now, the art team is mostly me, and the game mostly doesn't quite do what it needs to really be an early access game. Hey, you did it again. Look at those banana pies.
I did.
Flying out of there.
And if you pull, you should get a fix to the new game button will now wipe your van as well as anything you've unlocked. You've unlocked. Now that you can actually unlock anything, but once you can unlock things, that button will wipe what you've unlocked.
Sweet. I am not going to do that.
It should not wipe your settings.
Yeah. Correct. Your audio, your checkbox and slider that we've so graciously given you.
Yes, your two settings. In fact, I didn't actually test that, so let's test. I want max jams, but no sound effects. New game. Set progress. Max jams, no sound effects. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is next on the
Is
docket?
on the docket.
Play, play the build.
Yeah, play the build. So I'm not going to mess around with doing any crazy polls or Steam stuff while I'm trying to run a stream.
I'm going to build and run, so I'm playing a real build.
I'm going to keep my internet pipeline as relatively clear as possible.
Yep.
You hit F11.
Not yet.
Lame.
We'll be F11 soon. There. Now we're F11.
No, can you hit F11 on the meeting?
Hmm?
Oh no, that's my job to hit F11 on the meeting.
I don't have. Yeah, I don't
I'm
have the
trying to
medium.
get more screen space out of this. There we go. It's a little better. That's why my head was in the wrong place. I'm like telling you to do crap that's on me.
Can I drive to your house and hit F11?
That would be
All right.
proper tech support.
All right. So since we just revamped what happens when you hit new game, I'm gonna hit new game. Since I just cranked the volume way up, I'm gonna crank it down because I don't need to hear it so loud.
Talk through it.
Oh yeah, so
I know you've done it a million times, but
I'm gonna just breeze through this because I'm on autopilot right now. I'm gonna wait for the van to come back. I'm thinking about whether this step should actually wait until the van is returned to say drag Cruft into your van. It's a small moment, but
we're teaching patience.
still a moment. Yeah. Following the tutorial. I'm annoyed that whole UI shifted when that highlight went away. That's another, I think, a loud thing. I'm going to put both of these on my notes.
Why don't you play and I'll put things in notes?
Okay, you put things in notes. Okay, here I am, ready to buy a bunch of stuff from Tim. Click, click, click. Really enjoy those popping sounds. I like having my pen in a corner. I have some nice trees. I'm going to actually just sort of arrange these trees sort of purposely. And then the highlights telling me to have a cow. Thanks, Bart Simpson. Now I wait and listen to the absolute banger of a soundtrack.
Indeed. I'm very pleased that the Bart Simpson quote is in there. Thanks to you. Let's see. So it was the highlighting was changing the button sizing, and
Yes.
should we?
And it was shifting the rest of the UI because of the way, sort of the box model, the style sheet based UI system works. All right, milk the cow again. Oh, actually, I have a magnet I can use thanks to.
You do have a magnet. What's the magnet do?
Thanks to choices that we've made. Yeah, so with the magnet, I can right-click it, or I can use the hotkey 1 to activate the magnet, and then click and drag to sort of scoop up any items of the same type, and then drop them all at once in a spot.
I should pull the magnet out of the van, shouldn't I?
Which is helpful when you're doing that. Probably. Why did we do that to begin with? It was a bit of a concession to something, wasn't it?
It's because you couldn't load things in your van for a while.
Ah, yeah. We no longer need to do that.
Yep.
Use the mixer to turn milk into cheese. Now, this is another one of those spots where, like, you can go astray here if you make butter and ignore the highlight, but in the future that probably won't be possible. No.
Butter won't be unlocked from the start of the game.
Just won't be there.
Butter.
So it won't be that this particular version of the recipe doesn't contain butter. It'll be that butter is not available to me.
It is a locked recipe at the start, and it will be granted to you when you get the achievement for finishing with the magnet.
This bug I forgot about this bug. So the tutorial guy's shop doesn't reset if it's the page you left up when you shut the phone down. So
Correct.
yeah, so if I just
I'm
look
not taking a
outside,
note on that because we got that one.
yeah, we got that one tracked. Do we want to fix that before we ask people to test tutorial and tell us how it goes? Because everyone's gonna hit that. That's
In this
100%
first pass, it's
what everybody
literally good friends that have a key. It's not super public, so I don't think we want to tap the brakes. I think these people are going to break the game in a bunch of ways that I have not anticipated, and I'd like to see those sooner.
Sure. Well, let's just communicate that particular bug so that folks
Yes.
could
don't spend all their
navigate
time
it.
bugging.
Yeah, yeah, because we're gonna get all the I mean, yeah, we're gonna get the same feedback regardless of which pool of.
Why are you moving all that craft one piece by one piece?
Because I'm talking and not thinking.
Yeah.
It's like an automatic. This is like the cursed amulet property of the game that reviewer referred to.
Takes you to an enlightened state of being.
Yeah, no, I'm super vulnerable to cruft because I'll sit down and play an RPG and be like, great, I love this RPG. I'm about to play it for a long time, and then I'll open up my inventory and go, God, what a mess! And then I'll spend the next hour rearranging things in there, and then I'll be like, okay, game time's up. This was a cool game.
But then next time you show up, everything's all laid out.
Right, and then I get to make a big mess of it as I pick up new items, and the cycle renews itself. Okay, buy all Tim's stuff. Right. Do I actually have to do that? Use the mixer to make dough. Oh, see, that's interesting. It's not smart enough to know what I actually went in here and bought. It just checks that I opened it.
Yeah,
So
because
that's pretty loose. Let's loosey goosey. We should have a way to detect if you buy something, and instead of saying buy a bunch of stuff, open, close, we should say internally it should be like, okay, buy an oven, buy tomato sauce, etc. That would be more solid. We should do that, I think.
All right, noted.
Okay, now I can use the mixer to make dough.
I'm gonna have to put in
waiting for that dough to mix and bop into the tunes.
I'm gonna have to put in another Simpsons reference around dough somewhere where it's just dough. It's gonna have to be in there.
All right, good.
I'll find a place to hide it.
All right, we've got dough. Now we can make a pizza.
What did I just see on the sides of the screen, Will? What madness is that? What is happening?
On the sides, so we just sprayed all of the items that I crafted to get to level 2. We just launched them out of a confetti cannon as sort of a celebration. And there's a pop-up, and now we are very aggressively having our attention drawn to this particular locked object. And it says use these to unlock the magnet. So if I click on this, now I'll see that I'm going to unlock the magnet, and it costs 2 deeds. And we got a pop up. Oh, hey, guess what? This isn't a demo anymore.
Surprise.
This whole thing is, that's a to-do.
Yeah, let's see. Update, tutorial, and pop-up text. See?
Yeah, I think we could just kind of delete some text from here. I'm really tempted to just go do that now.
No, don't.
Okay, fine.
Let's
go.
A heart.
Let's
go nowhere. Let's
go to the end of the tutorial that doesn't tell me about the realtor.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we know about that needing to be done. And it's time for me to load up the van with what I want to take with me. So I'm not gonna be as aggressive as I was last time we went through this, because last time I brought some giant
Yeah,
crafting
you're
station
an
that
absolute savage last
I
time.
wasn't even close to being able to take advantage of that crafting station. This is a little bit more reasonable. And bring these are just like good staple crafting stations to have with you. Farm.
Why are they good staple crafting stations to have with you?
Most of the basic things you can craft are done here. So the mixer gets me lots of dairy-based products. The what is this actually called? The simple mill gives me a lot of ways to use things that you might grow at this small plant plot. I actually use the workbench less maybe than you do, Z, but it's where most other kind of crafting trees start. Like I can build
I also
butcher
don't.
block, the pen, the sawhorse. I can build more plant plots. Pretty much basic home improvement stuff. All right, what else do I want? I want a cow. Those are useful to be able to turn out something I can sell. I want a pen just because it's the only way to make baby animals into useful animals.
I really don't like the fact that the station UI resizes based on the complexity of the recipes in it.
Yes. Do we have a polish for that? Because it's just more like UI fiddly stuff.
We have a 4 prio that we will gobble up. You're doubling up on magnets. You're absolutely nuts.
Am I doubling up on magnets? Oh, I am. That is nuts. I don't need 2 magnets.
Space counts. I'd take some feed with you.
Yeah.
Just to have it.
I was thinking about what else I even need.
Saplings. Oh, yeast? Oof.
Yeah, yeast is a very specific path. I don't know which way I want to go yet.
Yeast is not
three.
that hard to bootstrap at this point.
I'm just gonna get water. Although Tim will sell me water, probably.
Take a pizza. It's with cash money.
Oh yeah,
$10, man.
a little pizza cash. How much is this worth? 0. That's on purpose, isn't it? So you can't sell it.
Indeed.
I'll take these saplings. I probably won't use them. Okay. Now don't hit this button. Sign the form.
What are the things you're checking?
Checking boxes to acknowledge that I have filled my van with the items that I want to take with me to the next yard. All right, and now I'm presented with a choice here of another shift with the highlight. That's actually the button appearing. Should we take a note for pick next yard UI shifting when you select a yard? That doesn't. We need to just build in some space for this button to appear without the whole thing shifting upwards.
Badger asks, hey,
stream.
What if the van can't go if there's a magnet in there? I mean, go to market, that is. It'll go. It just won't get rid of the magnet.
Yeah, the way the market logic works is it only sells things that have a price, and so Z puts a cost of 0 on things that he doesn't want you to be able to sell whatsoever. He actually did that once when I was selling water because he didn't want me to be able to sell water.
This isn't
so he made water cost 0. Okay. Small farm. Do I want to go to a small farm next? I kind of do. I think I'm feeling small farmer. Why am I feeling that way? Yeah, I'm feeling that way because
do what you like.
Yeah, I'm feeling that way because I've got some basic stations loaded up into the van that are conducive for farming, and yeah. So here we go. That is small. It's a small space for a small farm. That I can sell. So I'll just tuck away. In the middle. Put my cow next to the mixer because the milk needs to be mixed. I'm gonna grab all the feed, put that next to the cow. Hammer up here. Sell the pizza. what's in here. Yeah, I want to sell that. All right. What's a farming achievement I could go for?
That's a good question. Let's see. Go to the Miro. Farming achievement. There we go. Zoom in on this. Let's see. You could get to 1,000 cash money, which would get you the cream achievement, which would increase your starting cash money on every subsequent level. You could. Oh, sorry, this one ends up. You could do 2 moss flour, 2 avocados, 2 peppers, 2 tomatoes, but I think you did that last.
Did that last time, yeah.
Burlap sacks: 50 wheat, 50 sweet corn, and 50 barley.
All right,
50 of each.
let's do it.
Which means, in order to do that, you've got to clear some space out. You got to probably try to get that grain operation going pretty efficiently. Like, just in the interest of time and sanity, you might not want to do that with just one small farm plot.
Yeah.
So,
we're gonna start.
So Badger, to your point, there's 2 ways to avoid accidentally selling something in the market. One is if the thing's price 0, it just won't sell. The second is there are actually controls in the database where I can make it so that an object cannot be put in the van. And that is some of what, if it's never supposed to be sellable, then if I've set it up right in data, it won't be. That is absolutely something to look into and attempt to break, or be like, should you really be able to sell small pond? Now, Will, have you cased what is available to unlock for deeds?
I'm looking a little bit. I've got my eye on the well next, and probably this fiver here is going to be good.
Sweet.
It's tempting. Yeah. So the difference between 2 medium plots and 4 small plots is really interesting. I don't know how to evaluate that. Yeah, and it also comes with some barley and it comes with some corn. I mean, I'm going to be doing both of these eventually. I'm just curious which one first. And then this is cool. Although I don't expect to be going as hard into livestock as I did last time. I think someone will sell me some water before I
you need it.
have enough to, yeah. All right, we have 2 deeds, so we can do this now. I think the near-term economic plan is turning lots of butter. Oh, right, I need to do this. I need to probably start making feed very aggressively.
Badger says, wait, I'd grab the 5 small plots, then the size 5 large.
I see 4 small plots available in this guy, and I see 2 medium plots available in this guy. Well, I guess they're actually large. Yeah.
Is there a cash money value on that well?
On the well?
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I cannot click it while it's in.
In the mode. I'll just check the DB.
We have a task to do something about that, anyways. The polish task to make it so that clicking on an in progress station will tell you stuff.
Truth.
More useful stuff. 13 seconds on that.
I need to obliterate putting the. I just removed being able to put the water well into your fan. Yeah, there's a good example.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about not wanting to be able to do that last time too. All right, I have some fertilizer now, so I know I can make some trees. I'm hoping that the trees are also just going to accelerate my deed, my XP production, which turns into deeds. I don't really want to do pine trees though. That's like a lot of space. I want to do apples. In fact, I'm going to just put that in there for my next run.
Prevent your ability to even think about it.
Yeah, kind of.
That's all right. I find in this game like a bunch, me just doing like tiny little hacks. Like when I feel like I'm done for a while with something like wheat flour, I just sell it off.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what?
Get it out of here.
If I want to get back in this biz, I'll do it. In the meantime, just give me the space back. Pigs eat cruft.
Normally I need my cruft for churning out fertilizer, but I needed more poop. So I've got a pig. The cow gives you poop, but he doesn't always give you poop, or she doesn't always give you poop.
Poop economy, very important.
Yeah. Okay. What else do we need to do? You just churn out more of this for a minute while I think about it. We're at one deed.
I'm pleased that it isn't too small a start. I was a little worried.
Oh, that's going to keep requiring. We're going to need another composter. And since we're here, we can get another one of these. I think this is why I think I do get the medium plot next. It's fewer deeds, and I can acquire small plots sort of on a 5-minute timer.
That's true.
Okay. Does anybody want to buy butter? No, you're not a butter. No. Yeah. Okay. So
A pretty
butter is very specifically for the market.
A pretty pivotal sort of twist now is that like you go into a level and some people just aren't buying some stuff. Like you've always got the market. You can always drive into town, go to the farmer's market. That tree flying around looks awesome. But like you can't always do the exact same shtick. Maybe later in the game. So,
Yeah, like I just picked butter because I remember I'm so used to having the shopkeeper that buys, all sorts of things, butter being among them.
Being able to winnow things down a bit, like Karen will not be available from the game start. Big Biz Bill, not available from start. Like there are achievements for them, but what that does is like once you unlock them, there are levels that you played before that you couldn't do X, Y, and Z either because you didn't have the supply for it, whatever. And the achievements are based off of the Chivos, are based on an audit of what's on the ground when you leave. So there's some achievements that like you really do need to like unlock this character over here, come back to this level, do this thing, and do this other thing that character now sort of enables, in order to get some of the harder level achievements. And some of them, I mean, it's supposed to be pretty hard to completely clear out all the deed purchases in a lot of the levels, especially as they get bigger. So getting Chivos around either D cost going down or starting with bonus deeds is like a biggie.
I like I like I want to call out Badger noticing that the things on the plots matter too. Um, I think I just shout out to Z for being clever and consistent, right? Like there's stuff scattered around these, and lo and behold, that's actually stuff you get when you unlock the plot. Right?
And we'll just say clever and not consistent because I hope most of the. I mean, I'm hand putting those things into the assets. I hope they match most.
If you're clever, they will be consistent.
But like, it's no small deal that like this level has an ebony tree on it. Like ebony is like a pretty advanced it's like one of the more advanced things in the game, and it's like, okay, it can make you a lot of money if you just get that tree and a couple saplings to saw them down. But if you have an achievement elsewhere that's like, make a bunch of ebony guitars and a big old statue, and the achievement's like School of Rock, so it's a guitar, ebony guitar and a big old statue. It's like doing a statue here kind of a pain unless you bring some like granite with you. Doing the guitar over there, you might not have ebony, so like you might play this level and just speed run it to get those saplings, throw them in your van, and go to this other level. I just go for space for more options. Absolutely, that's supposed to be some of the push pull of having. I don't want to say that they're freebies on certain tiles, but like having tiles that you unlock with stuff on them versus just most space. And sometimes based on what you want to do, you really just want real estate.
I think I'm done with my tree plot, so I'm going to ship it.
Whee!
Now I know that I can ferment the apples into apple cider, but I don't know that I can buy that object in here.
I'm not sure.
Oh, hey, you're hungry. Look at that.
I'm not sure on this map if you can or can't. I mean, you'd be looking for the fermenting bucket.
Yeah, I don't see it right away.
I might not. I think it's on farm to table.
Yeah, I keep looking in that one shop without seeing it.
The fermenting bucket is definitely a weird one because like there is no way to craft it. We're not going to have you work in plastics. You could, in theory, get around it by getting a fermenting stall eventually. It is the gateway to like
skip the low tier crafting station and get them the next tier up.
Yeah, like you don't need it everywhere, but like as far as a one tile object, it's pretty sweet. Because it does allow you to ferment. And so there's several things like, sauerkraut, sure, that's a little bit esoteric, but like you can basically make infinite yeast out of the thing by just recultivating the same sourdough and just adding some water and flour to it. Eventually unlock Karen, you could probably just choose to like just buy your yeast and be fine. But I could imagine a lot of people will probably be like, I'm always taking the magnet, a hammer, a bucket. And I think it's kind of cool that you could just repack a few of the same things level to level and just be like, this is my opening salvo. Like what I like to do is, bake bread.
Mm-hmm.
So I show up every time my bread making operation, and that's how I bootstrap. Choice is yours.
Yeah, well, on the other hand, do you feel like people will ever feel like, geez, like, why do I have to carry this with me all the time? Or feel annoyed that this item that they deem so essential is not easier to acquire? Or
I think that is feedback. I would not be surprised to get that feedback. I think if something becomes too dominant a strat, if something were like everybody always keeps the fermenting bucket and it's really hard to play the game if you don't, I would just throw it in a couple more shops. Like, thankfully, there are levels on the accessibility of things. Where like, all right, like I think Auto sells it in farm to table, um, but like if he had to sell it in a few more spots, if that's just his jam, he likes brewing, so be it.
I mean, I feel like we're probably there with the magnet, right? Like the magnet is just a huge quality of life thing, and I can't imagine wanting to play the game without it. You know.
Yeah, I think we are there. I mean, I think it.
Oh, oh no! All right, sell stuff.
It's broken. I think you can feed one of those pigs, right? Or do you not have any feed? Oh, you do have feed.
I have feed. Yeah, that actually. Good.
Little breathing room.
I just need to empty my composter and then.
You also do have 6 deeds.
Oh, I do. It's time.
Didn't that feel good?
Yeah. Okay, so now.
What do you mean I need space? Just keep
Now we
making
can
more
start.
stuff.
All right, remind me again of the items I need to make. It's 50 wheat, right?
50 wheat, 50 sweet corn, 50 barley.
50 sweet corn, 50 barley.
Almost wish it makes you wish you had a UI that was tracking these achievements. Almost.
Get on it's pretty soon.
So there is a trade-off with using the larger plots. Like they spit out more of the end product, but fewer relative seeds. You end up being a slightly bit more industrialized.
I don't mind that
Operation. Yeah,
I want to get there. I don't want to be sweating. I want to be sweating all for the rest of these 3 hours we're doing this for. I'm going to need to just start opening up space to store stuff so I can track what I've gotten to the place. All right. We kind of have a lot of barley already.
Do. We're not in a bad space. Not in a bad space at all.
Maybe wheat should be. Well, let's just buy it.
Buy the seeds when they're available.
Yeah. Did I think I accidentally clicked that. Oh well. Yeah, sure. Let's get another one of those. Another one of those.
I don't know why I'm watching this on OBS. It's like so much smaller than I actually look over here at my other screen. It's got our call on it. It's not even a big screen, but very, very different.
Mini mode.
Super squinty old man mode.
Sell a bunch of apple must. Now, so I don't know much about making apple cider.
Mm-hmm.
What is must?
Oh, that's a good question. A must is when you mash stuff down and it's still got all the fiddly bits. It's unfiltered. So when you see people stomping grapes, you see people crushing apples, and there's still like plenty of pulp and whatever in it. It's I may be talking out of my ass right now, but it's like similar. The thing I'm about to say, it's similar to a wort in brewing with grains, where you've just got like grains steeping in water. So it has not gone through any filtration process.
So it's a pretty grimy apple water.
Yeah, pretty grimy apple water. It's got chunkiness to it. It is proto fruit brewing stuff.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
quite often what you'll do is you'll take a mesh bag, like a very fine mesh bag, put it over whatever, um, put it inside and then hanging out over the top of whatever vessel you're going to brew in. You'll dump all that must in, and it'll at least keep a decent amount. It'll all be floating in there, but when you tie the bag off, all the chunks are in there, so that when you actually brew and are done, you pull the bag out, squeeze it, and don't have to filter it again from there.
Mm.
That's what I
I
did
feel like
when I
there's a
built
whole
my.
category of fun things I'll have to try on my own someday just to live the cruft life.
I did Concord grape wine this last fall. So my sister in law's got Concord grapes growing up the side of a bunch of pine trees
Mm.
in her yard, and she just had tons of them. Um, and it's like it's not a particularly delicious wine. It's not bad,
Okay.
but it's like very table wine. I mean, Concord grapes are just like super sweet. Um, but I made some jelly also, not fermented, but like it was fun. It was a good time. Like brewing's a hoot. You don't need much to do it. I just did mine in mason jars with valves on them. It's kind of cool for the kids to be able to watch
Mm-hmm.
things change.
Ah, this is fighting with my water. I might need to stop doing this now. All right. Any more apple stuff left over?
You're a quarter of the way there from getting the cream achievement.
Oh,
Getting a thousand cash money when you leave.
yeah, let's see if we can get both. I got 2 deeds. One more. This is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is tidily another third of the achievement I need. This storage space over here.
Indeed, quite tidily. I should change those all to 51.
Why? Why?
For the reaction I just got from you.
I think that I know that you're joking, but
No.
I'm going to seriously make a case for leaving it round
Okay.
because I think the like cursed amulet nature of the game needs those kinds of payoffs where like something nice and in order in can fit in a nice and orderly way,
I
right?
know. It's
We're not trying to get you to re up your wallet of virtual currency, right?
yeah, I do have to remember that as much as like I'm pretty goblin-y, the payoff of things lining up nicely is very satisfying. My
Yeah,
desire to torture people needs to be somewhat kept in check.
right. This is the dwarf fortress problem. You can't. Yeah, we can't go into this with a purely. I don't know what the right word is.
User hostile.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not like it's not as deliberate as user hostile, but that is in effect what it ends up being, where you just
Nice. There is a sausage achievement. Um,
I gotta
it's called Sausage
focus.
Party. 50 smoked sausages. These numbers are all super round. Like I'll mess with them a little bit, not necessarily their roundness, but they're totally unbalanced.
I need more. I need way more water than I'm coming up with here.
Why don't you buy a deed? You got cash money coming out the wazoo.
Buy a water voucher. How does a
Yeah,
water voucher work?
it's a component for.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna look. Okay, that's how it works. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
good.
secondary recipe. It's faster and spits out a crap ton of water. Man, there's cruft in your special barley pile.
Yeah, get out of there. Okay, all right.
It's
Barley.
I have fun naming things.
Barley is achieved.
I'm glad you
Extra barley can
appreciate.
go.
Games are supposed to be fun. Automon check. Oh, is it? So many windows.
Okay. Where am I going next? I
I'll
think
be
I'm
right back.
going to Cornland. Need block corn seed. Probably need more wheat seed, but I'm not sure. Ah, space. Oh, we need more poop. Can't compost without poop. Does this help me? How much does cheese sell for? 4. Milk sells for 3. So math is hard. 2 times 3 is 6, and I'm getting. Oh, that's way profitable.
Yeah, auditor, we're allegedly on both.
I have 3 yet.
We're definitely on both. Broad reaching makes things a little more complicated, but it's not too bad. We're using a service, the free version of Restrain. In
So you're
theory,
talking to auditor? Is he on
it's on
YouTube?
YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. I probably have enough corn. I just can't tell. So I'm gonna start making wheat.
Space matters.
Yeah, space matters a lot now. I need to sell something, I guess. I'm not really using fertilizer anymore now that I'm not doing apple stuff.
It's true. Tis true.
Oh wait, is that actually true?
I don't know if it's actually true. That's it's funny. I just went along with it.
It is. It is actually true. Okay. For a minute, I was wondering whether the
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 trees
large,
can care
the
about it.
large plant plots needed fertilizer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, auditor.
Or
Both my
this.
channels at this point. I just streamed both.
Okay.
It's neat.
Another.
All hail the magnet.
Yeah. This is a big job for the magnet. Yeah, I have more than enough corn. Okay, so corn is done. I'm going to sell a bunch of corn.
Not a bad call.
Now I've got to clean this place up. Also sell some cheese.
That looks a little better. Got some breathing room.
Thank you for the feed reminder. I was out of feed, wasn't I? Okay. Wow, we're so close to nice and tidy that I'm tempted to just
You can tidy up.
sit here doing
It's
do nothing useful in exchange for
it's your yard, baby.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite things to see how people choose to like organize their yard. Good psychological analysis.
I'm definitely it's not stage fright, but I'm just like acting more hastily than I would if I was just sitting down to chill and play.
The game does like take up a flywheel and like some sort of gear in the back of your head, and it does make other things a little challenging at the same time. You'll also get used to it a bit though. Like obviously, like I've been streaming for quite a while, and I've just like gotten accustomed to the fact that I can't remember to do anything. I see the method to your madness now, though. Without even needing more deeds, you've made your little wheat spot.
Yes, I have my little weak spot now.
You do choose
Yeah,
how to kill your time.
attack this. Not quite acting the way I wanted to do, but okay. Give me this, and I forgot that making it
Yes.
was gonna set me back in terms of corn. So I got to put that back. Keep the water flowing.
Sisyphean quest.
I think we've now got a refresh with Sarah. We've got more wheat. Yeah, and I actually think that I want to use the small plots for this because the chance of more seeds is probably the difference.
You getting dynamic.
I think so. Oh yeah, and I want one more of these. It's gratifying. Oh no, space again. Okay.
You do. I mean, you do you, but you can van some of that cruft. You're a rich man.
Ah,
You're a rich man.
don't. No, I'm not. I'm only 38% of the way there. Being a rich man. All right, that's there. Nope. Need poop. I think I'm done with cow stuff. Sorry, cow. See ya.
Rather than take cruft to the dump, you've obliterated a cow.
Look, I'm not saying my worldview is consistent. It's just
It's funny. Badger says, just pig more often. It's true. A lot of it is just a matter of
yeah.
like what you click when you click it, and the waterfall effect. It's pretty simple stuff, but like if you remember to hit the well and hit the pigs, and then hit the compost, it's good. But it's all action economy. Look at that. So much wheat.
I think we.
I think you're there.
Pending an official count. I think we're there. There we go.
Should 4x pig per compost on average. So theoretically, if you packed up your van right now, what you'd get for the entire rest of the playthrough is you'd unlock, what is this one? Prolapse axe. You'd unlock the recipes to use artisanal corn, farro, and rice, which then unlocks like the ability to make classier dishes. And so you could also choose to like not leave right now and be like, well, but I also think I'm pretty close to what is it?
1,000 cash.
1,000 cash is one of them. You could be reasonably close to.
Actually, see what happens if I just sell off.
There's an achievement called a millie, which would be 100 wheat flour and 100 animal feed. Like, you could sit there and pun intended, grind that out, or you could just choose to like move on and pick something else. And that's kind of the point. And I do worry about that. Like it is. I don't worry about it too much, but like the goals are discrete, but going for which ones is very player driven, and whether or not that's enough to keep someone like motivated, which we'll find out when people actually play the game. But probably the biggest piece of feedback, and not any surprise from the demo, was like, all right, I made a pizza. Now what do I do?
Now what?
Yeah. And what we're really solving for is the now what, but not as heavy-handed as maybe we could. But the spirit of the game is kind of like, hey, go live out this fun bootstrapping experience how you want to do it. If you are not a completionist, hopefully it is it is a few beacons out there of things that you could do. Um, as your own personal goal. And if you are a completionist, then it's definitely like it is a web of going in and doing one thing in one spot, going in and doing another one, like building up, building up, building up.
That's probably net negative now. Now that I think about that, that's feet worth.
Are you trying to just make money now?
I'm just seeing. I'm just seeing if I sold off all my stuff, how far away I was from 1,000. I'm not gonna. Oh, and I can't sell this now, can I? I can sell this for this time only.
Yes. Well, actually, it had no. I think it had a value of one, didn't or zero, didn't it?
36.
Oh, what's there? Ooh, you sold the well is spicy. You're getting closer.
Yeah, just selling everything. Hey, you don't fit. You don't fit. Yeah,
So close.
even the poop.
You probably.
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah.
204 ish. Okay. I'm pretty satisfied with that as a playthrough for now. I got an achievement. I was in striking distance of another one.
Mm-hmm.
Cashing this yard in for 2 achievements feels pretty good to me. Um, yeah.
Yeah, not a bad playthrough. Not at all. And I think there's definitely room for improvement. Well, there's absolutely room for improvement in terms of like the overall tempo of the game in certain spots, but it's going to really matter. Like that's all just tweakable stuff based on feedback. There's costing things in there. Like, I mean, somebody even during the demo was like, "You sure the pizza shouldn't be worth more?" And I was like, "It should." And you just change a number and see how it plays, and just roll with it. So I think that gets us um, through one of the things we wanted to cover in this meeting was a solid like do a playthrough, play one level, go into another, try to get achiever, which is solid. Um, can you? Yeah, stay here. What do we should think about what the background of this level is going to be because it's green.
Yeah, it's very green.
I mean, I could do some sort of like somewhat dynamic-ish forest in the background. It could be like
Yeah, I mean the the cheapest thing is probably to take the background from the main menu and just even leave it still, right?
I mean, I think so what I was gonna say is like I think it's actually kind of cool if like the van is in it and it is driving. Because it's like, okay, now I'm driving to my next place. Like it
Yeah,
creates a
and we
little bit of
just
that.
we just exited the last scene by having the van drive off.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if I could do something with like a not as zoomed in as the menu screen. Maybe like something that looks very zoomed out, but you can kind of see the van go. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's some
like
funky long
my
road.
brain goes to show me the horizon because we're at a moment where we're peering out in the distance and deciding where to go next.
I'll give it a try. I'll see. I don't know. Like I can't do too much with the van in terms of having it go down some crazy winding road. The other
No,
thing,
no. I'm just thinking very simply like we've got the van and it's bumping along and the camera just pans up to show the sky and then this stuff can come in, right?
well, the other thing I was thinking about is I could do a windshield, like you're inside, have the trees coming like this.
Yeah, sure. Dope.
I say
Don't
it's like
don't ponder real estate agreements while you're driving, kids. Like, I don't know.
it's the only time to do it. Uh, bu- 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 Things to try. Try driving. I don't know. It'd be fun to work on. Having some amount of auditor wants to know auditor having
I
switched
see
over
the
to Twitch
question.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
ever buy a better van? We actually talked about this a while, maybe in our last meeting or just some morning when we met up. We talked about adding a trailer. Talked about yeah, little Hawaiian girl dancing on the dash. That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I like that you're bringing this up now, Auditor, because I mean that kind of impacts what we're talking about. We're talking about showing the van in this screen. So, are you going to be able to upgrade the van? And if you are, do we have to then make the screen more dynamic? Is that worth our time?
it's interesting because last time we rapped about it, it's like kind of your one. I mean, essentially the van is like the marketing symbol for the game. It's the icon that you
Right.
click
It's your
on.
character. It's
It is
you.
your character. Like how much you can mess with that. So the
I mean, I honestly think, having thought about this a little bit, is that yeah, if the van is your character, then maybe it should be able to upgrade and grow throughout the course of the game. Like that's a sign of a good character, right? It develops.
it's true. I think it is like in terms of game balance, it is a feel good thing to be able to take more stuff to a subsequent level, um, and it
Yeah.
allows us to balance levels in such a way where like this achievement really can only be done on these two different levels, and you really need to have played for quite a bit to like amass the stuff necessary to get it done. One of the things we talked about is like, all right, what if you can get a trailer? So it's like, all right, now my van is tugging a trailer. You know, now it can still be because the danger is that you take what is like, let's say it's a 5x5 grid in the van right now, and you're like, oh, well, now it's like it's a tractor trailer, so it's like 10 tall by 53 long. And it's like, well, at that point, um, size does matter on objects, and like it is a little bit break. Even if we say, hey, some things you can't take, a 3x3 tree plot is like a massive thing to take with you in the van right now, relatively speaking, relative to anything that's 2x2, 2x1, like more so than just linearly. But like a trailer then means that like, all right, you still might not be able to take like two massive things, but the amount more that you can take of small things is kind of cool. So there's a lot to sort of like
There's
suss
a lot of
out.
ways to slice it up. It doesn't sound like I'm still pro expanding your storage space inside the van, which I want to sort of point out is different than it's not necessarily the same as uh, what Auditor is suggesting is buying a better van, right? Like you can visually upgrade your van, and that doesn't have to necessarily, anyways. Yeah, like it's all on how you slice it up, right? Like maybe we just set guidelines for ourselves where it's like, okay, items taller than 5 won't be able to be carried forward until you unlock the van, because then the next van can afford items up to 6 tall, and then you still know that okay, if I never want you to be able to take an item with me, I make it 7 tall, or put however many slices along the way,
Mm-hmm.
right?
From the top rope, and I saw him join the Discord earlier. I wasn't going to call him out, but now that his name's in here, Joe Barry is in the meeting. Yeah, best viewers on
Snap.
stream. He says, I like the
Stream boost in the
idea.
meeting.
Yeah, I like the idea of this being a zoom in of the GPS on the van's dashboard and give you nice opportunities for transitions in and out.
That's tight.
That is pretty tight.
That's tight. And like these little plot drawings you have kind of have not like a GPS quality to them, but they're mappy,
uh, in their very early form, I could see it being the kind of thing where outside the dashboard you see stuff going around. You've got this GPS going, and it's like, yeah, here are your options, and they're pinned to pseudo locations. Yeah, exactly. Plotting course to your next destination. That's got a
Yeah.
good narrative
Mhm.
feel to it.
Yep. And it's not, a roadmap. It's not as retro as a roadmap. We've already
Mm-hmm.
been leading into I got a phone and I do a lot of stuff through my
Yep,
phone. Not bad.
it's not bad at
Write,
all.
write it down.
I did write it down.
Sick.
Yeah, I also like for a game as simple as this having somewhere in the game there be like a UI that's in worldish, um, like the phone is. Um, it like there's only so far we can kind of take that stuff at a graphical level like we've got it, but it's neat, like the fact that the phone is a phone and it's laid out that way. Like having a GPS in here for as pixely as the game is, like just kind of it's got good feels to it.
Mhm.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're a inventory management game that we've put trappings on. These little spots, man, good stuff.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if the Realtor app is actually just the GPS or the Maps app.
It's true. I mean, the other thing I could do is take the phone, put it sideways when you're like in the van, have it do like on the dashboard clipped on, and that this all goes in there just sideways. It doesn't allow you to back out and talk to Tim. Maybe it does, but
Mm.
you're not gonna go like shopping through the thing.
We
But like,
we framed this whole UI in the landscape mode phone.
yeah, put it on the dashboard and have you're basically illegally driving while setting up real estate transactions.
Okay,
It's possible.
possible.
I'll mess with it.
I don't love illegal driving, but we're not actually driving.
It's true. It'll be a stretch for my ability to make it even look mediocre, and I'm due for one of those.
Yeah. Well, I brought up the sort of retro idea of just a roadmap because maybe that would be simpler in terms of execution. Like maybe there's a free, road atlas style asset that could just be pasted behind all this. Still gives you the same vibe.
I'll fiddle with it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good solid quest.
Right. Either way, this is your quest, and I wish you luck on it.
The interactivity of it is going to eventually bleed into your quest territory, but
I'm here for you.
cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. Yep.
Very very good call. What other stuff do we have in here? The last bullet that I see here in terms of important stuff to cover is task breakdown and estimates for the Chivo app screen.
All right.
Getting into the exciting parts of these meetings, breaking down task work.
Where the real work happens. Phase 4. Okay, I'm gonna need a different Miro screen, aren't I?
Joe also says, in addition to the size of the trailer, it can also upgrade the suspension for heavier things. There's another gating progression. I mean, and it doesn't need to be complex. Like the very first example of something like this that I could see is like the earthen oven. Of being like, you can't put it in the van. It's heavy.
Yeah.
It has the quality, heavy, but you can put it in the trailer.
Right. I mean,
Can't put a cow in the van. Can put it in the trailer. That's neat.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, and it's the cost there is like we'll have to plumb through this new stat and communicate it. Not hard, but there's stuff there. Now all the items need to know. Do all items need to know? I mean, in a way, we've sort of accomplished the same thing by giving things no cost, which is way less intuitive than weight, right?
Yeah, I mean it's essentially another it's not even another column in the database. We already have the column of where things are allowed to go. It's just a matter of surfacing that to the player. And then they added weather. The game became impossible. Oh, we are never adding weather to this. That
Yeah, I wouldn't say never.
Say never.
I mean, there is the non-zero amount of work that went into a day-night cycle. So
More like a day cycle, but yeah, I guess what I mean is like aesthetically, I got no problem with it. I do worry a little bit about gameplay, not in general. I mean for this game and for it ever shipping. We'll see.
give me a minute before I totally switch brain gears for biology. Turn that thing off.
An excellent reason to shift gears. Let's see. Maybe I will put some windows in other places so that I can scribble effectively. Oh yeah, like rain would be rain barrels. I'd have different grow cycle. Maybe like make plants go double fast during the day. Not that that's even remotely accurate, but fun. I don't know. Could happen. Could happen. What was the thing I was looking for? It's a window. It's got. There we go. Just in case I want to scribble properly. Let's cruft open. Cruft with Miro open. Move my mic a little bit. See if everything still fits. My stylus. Dangerous man. Sit here and burn some time scribbling. Actually, that should be gold up there. Color this in blue. All important scribble design phase. Let's try and take care of business. Go bigger than that. Whoop. Look at that. It's a metal. It says we don't make good use of co-development tools. Blue ribbon. One on this thing. I'm number one.
Oh, okay. You back?
Did it.
What'd you do?
You did it.
I did. All right.
Per auditor, there's a lot of minutia that you can get into, and right now you're trying to keep it light and fluffy, just good enough crunch to make the OCD brainworms feel good. Yeah, it's a challenge to not try to do everything. The thing I always try to keep in mind is like in the fullness of time, you can do everything. If you try to do everything now, you just get swamped.
Yeah.
You get never ship. While you were gone, I enhanced the Chivo icon. Look at that.
Oh, very nice. That is a fantastic enhancement.
I don't know about these things. These things up here are dumb. All right.
All right. So
while you do real work.
we are here now to break down these two lines that came in pretty hefty, maybe 8 hours of work, which is really just a sign that I haven't thought about this task enough to break it down into smaller, digestible chunks. So yeah, let's just kind of crack into it now. Give me more rows. Oh, but I don't. Chivo app in the phone that shows all the possible achievements and bonuses, like the craft. So really, though, we kind of have something different. We have a Chivo overview screen, right? And then we have all of these pop-ups with much more information about them.
I think you're right. So when I crack,
really what I need is there is a Chivo controller that accesses Chivo data. Oh boy, okay, here we go. Here we go.
Now we're talking your language. Now it's
Yeah,
becoming road again.
Yep. I can feel the, I don't know what it is. The je ne sais quoi take hold. There's Chivo data, right? We need Chivo data in spreadsheets.
Sure do.
There is, this is getting technical. There's an importer for Chivo data. Is that what I call it? I actually call it a converter. I don't know why.
Auditor brings up like get just enough done and then you can hand it over to modders, which is another thing we got to think about at some point during early access. Is we do actually want to open up a decent degree of Steam Workshop stuff for this and not just have it be totally flaky, like get lucky type Steam Workshop. So we'll see.
What do you mean get lucky?
Some stuff that's in Steam Workshop is like very much, I don't think it needs to be plug and play. Like you need some amount of technical background to build content for it, but some of them are like, wow, like making new units for Unreal Epic Battle Simulator is like, it very much requires that you get a couple very obscure tools and do a couple very arcane things to make it go.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think
some crazy hacker figured it out and published a guide that made it remotely possible for anyone else.
Or someone at the company just like leaked, like, hey, if you really feel like doing it, you know, go get this tool and click these 8 buttons in between and make sure it's all set up like this. I mean, thankfully our game is 2D. Left 4 Dead, making M60 reloadable and then make it work with everything else. I don't remember the reference. I mean, I obviously remember Left 4 Dead, but I didn't know that it needed to be modded to do that. That's ancient history. I love it.
All right. What does the Chivo UI kind of have that's not data driven? Just has this back button.
Mm-hmm.
What is this icon? Is this static? Is this always the same icon?
Yeah, and we'll figure out something fun for it.
It's like overkill to put this in its own task, but here we are. This will serve to make me feel good about my life and my choices to complete a task. So there we go. That's an easy win. Future me will thank me Cool phone. Those are just built into the thing. Oh, doesn't text go here in this blank space I'm gesturing at?
I don't know that we want to do that because tapping any one of these, this right now, it's like the very top level is just a super high high level like, hey, here is this award icon. Here is what you need to do it, and then you tap in one level and it gives you everything. So at the top level, it's like it is just kind of like a reference point for where you're at in some spots. And when I tap it, and it opens everything. I don't know that I want to fill that block with a wall of text.
No, and I wasn't suggesting that. I was just wondering, does anything even go here?
I don't think anything does.
Do we get rid of or move that static icon?
I don't think so. It gives you
So
context to
that's
where
just
you are in your
blank
phone.
space.
Yeah, it's just a blank space. Nothing wrong with that.
Ah, okay, fine. I'll, I'll. Okay, okay,
You just
okay.
want to
So
fill it
then,
with cruft.
I don't know why I feel the need to use all the space, but I do. Maybe, maybe what'll happen is we'll roll with it, and then some feedback will come in, and we'll be like, there we go. That's what we use that space for.
Perfect.
Maybe if we're lucky. Okay. All right. So now, now let's get into this list.
I don't know. I didn't even know that someone did mod it to be able to reload the machine gun. That's pretty awesome. I don't know that it's game breaking, but it's pretty tight.
What are these achievement entries called? These are list of achievement. Overview entries. So that's what I'll call
You you're gonna want to call it Chivo. We got to keep
You're
we got
right.
to keep them both separate.
100% right.
There is mapped a Steam achievement for each Chivo. They're not the same thing.
Oh Lord, that. I think that's covered. I think that's covered.
Except that you should say Chivo on all those ones on the bottom. You do not. I might put some sort of liquor license thing in. That might make sense. God, over here. Do I remember if I put a Chivo in for that? Steel, let's go. Tuesday, Arborist. Do.
Steam has achievements. We have Chivos. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Words are important. Okay, there's a list of Chivo overview entries. That's these little pills.
Yeah. There's a Brewmeister achievement.
A Chivo overview.
There's a bucket list one.
Is
An idea for
as an icon of the type of word.
License. Nobody spells liquor right the first time. I'm sure everyone does.
A Chivo overview entry has the item requirements. Shows the item requirements. Right?
We don't judge what you do on your property. Just like we don't judge you for whether or not you take stuff to the dump versus compost it. You're off the grid.
You are off the grid. Yeah, I think Yeah.
It would be pretty
If
funny
someone's
though.
going to hassle you, I would want to do that through like texts from a character rather than the like actual crafting mechanics.
It would be pretty awesome if you pulled like you went to the market, you pulled out, and then a cop car pulled back in. You couldn't show up till you did something. Otter
Like you're
says, "So when
like you're
do I
trying
get to
to
unlock
sell
the
like,
Unabomber skin?" Yeah, exactly.
yeah, don't love that. But,
It's about being out in the country and making your own way.
Achieve overview. Okay, so we now have an app I can open. Got an icon. It's got a list of achievements shown in overview style, which is just an icon for the type of reward, the items it requires. We didn't put a name in here, did we? There's probably supposed to be a name in here.
I don't think so.
You don't want to show the name of the achievement here? Okay. Why not?
Because going here, I mean, unless we really think that the name is what people are going to associate, I'm trying to keep this top level very light so that you just are going in and being like, what am I close to? What am I not? And just having one more tap be like the full Monty. Like, I don't know that the name of it is essential for me to know that I am 5 out of 10, 0 out of 1, and 10 out of 10 of something.
But it's context for why I care. Like,
It is one more. I would like to try for this having it be as minimal as possible
okay,
on the first level.
okay. In that case, then the Chivo overview entries need to be sorted.
Steam does have hidden achievements. There's a few of these in here that may end up being
I described this.
hidden. There is on paper an achievement called It's a Secret. And it does require that you collect 666 of something. It's all on paper now.
All right. All right. So we have the screen. Let's say we have the screen. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when I tap, when tap,
When you click, it's not a real phone, Will.
oh my God, old habits die hard. I click Chivo overview entry. An appropriate pop-up appears for the type of Chivo. I guess really this is going to have to blow all this out into more things. Okay. Instead of doing these all in painstaking detail, I'm going to do probably one task for each of these pop-ups because they're all relatively contained. There's a description, there's a name and description, there's requirements, which is reused from here,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's what you're getting, which we've pretty much laid out here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do one of these for recipe. Oops. Sure. So
Sure.
the blank achievement details pop up. And then we have recipe, a yard,
Character. Craft time reduction.
recipe,
time.
yard, character, craft time reduction.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Starting cash money. It says here starting deeds, but we've talked both ways about like starting deeds, or maybe it's a deed discount. Want to cross that bridge right here?
You should. But those don't have to be mutually exclusive, do they?
I mean, it's do one or do the other or do both.
Right. That's the bridge you want to cross. Okay. I don't know. I don't have a strong sense either way. What do you? Which tool do you think you need?
I mean, I initially posited starting deeds, but then you brought up like, well, it might feel better, and I don't disagree with this. That like every single purchase from then on out is feeling better. They're both balanceable. One of them allows you to crack more stuff in the very moment you show up. Like if I start with 5 deeds,
Yeah.
I could drop in every single level. Bam! I just like unlock this or that, or hang on to them and be able to get something more expensive several that many levels earlier. Whereas a discount would be like, all right, I'd probably recost a lot of the deed costs so that like some of them weren't one, or maybe it's like
Yeah. Badger's asking if a one deed item becomes free. Yeah, we'd have to decide like how we implement the discount. Like, is it I just a rebate style? Is it straight numerical reduction? Is it some percentage reduction?
percentage definitely not.
Now that I think about it too, like practically, if we're implementing starting cash money, it's very straightforward to also implement starting deeds. So really the question is, do we want to invest time in the reduction idea? And if so, we should also be thinking about price reduction in shops, because they're going to be pretty interchangeable.
I think we should just do starting deeds.
Okay.
And find out if we need deed reduction. We will do starting money, find out if we need shop discounts. The last one is increased craft output.
They are just a different type of currency auditor. They're technically, in my world, they're all just stats that I track. Other types of stats I track are like how much craft you have, And those might be it right now, but they're numbers I write down in a little blob of binary file in your app data.
Increased craft output is the last one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We did get support from Badger on agreeing with starting deeds over discounted. That pretty much settles it in a meeting this size. It's just,
Let it be known.
it's good.
Increased craft.
I also think it's kind of fun to show up, like after you get this achievement, knowing that you're gonna walk in and be like, "Whoop, got my well." Like, that's tangible.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly much simpler for me to implement, so I'm happy with this outcome.
There is no deed, Mark.
Nope, they do not transfer or convert.
That would make my job more interesting than I want it to be, keeping things balanced. We have talked about making market prices for regular items fluctuate a bit, though. I don't know that we'll actually ever do that at this point, though. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, so
the more I think about that, the more I think it just would be like a static debuff.
all right, this is a lot. This is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of line items
that was previously hidden in 8 ambiguous hours of work. So
8 to 16, wasn't
it? It was 4 to 8.
Oh, it's 4 to 8.
This is why we do this, right? Because this is
exactly
how
why we do it.
This is how you go from, oh my god, that took me way longer than I thought, to no, actually I thought about it pretty thoroughly and I think it's this. Okay, so Chiba data and spreadsheets. This stuff tends to come together in 1 or 2. Converter comes together in less, because that's a templated thing. Controller. These are sort of misleading tasks, but just getting the basic stuff up.
Yeah, auditor. It's like the kind of thing. Basically, just some pushback on monocropping your economy. So, like originally, I was thinking like, hey, maybe this item, every time I sell it, we reduce the value of it at the market. But that turns into like very fluctuating UI that I don't want. But if I sold enough of something just to get a singular debuff, like then I could make that debuff as harsh as I wanted. It could be like 50%. So you know it's going to cross the threshold that, like, yeah, if the person still wants to just sell corn, so be it. But basically say like, hey, for the next 5 minutes, corn is only worth half. That you can display pretty easily, and not have it be like a finicky per. Like each item has a percentage thing going on with it. So we may end up doing that if it just gets if monocropping obviates a lot of the game. Maybe Yard 4 gives one of the characters a favor where things permanently get. So each, this is an important thing, each level has its own list version of characters with explicitly laid out shops, potentially more than one of them, so that you can cycle through them. And so I can choose in the level farm to table, Seraphin sells all kinds of seeds, as opposed to Prospector's Pass, which sells very few. The explicitness of that shop is also the cost of buying and selling those items. Essentially, like the only reason Sarah appears in multiple levels is because we give her the same icon, call her Sarah. Each one of those is explicit DB work. So that's absolutely like an option. And you know, truth be told, I can have you like I could have an achievement in there that is like all it requires is that you have a smoker in the yard when you peace out. And I could just put that in one level and just have it being sold for like an inordinate amount of money. A smoker's pretty terrible idea for that, but like a gold statue or something like that. That would, I mean, it wouldn't be that exciting, but like that's how much differentiation we have with how the levels are built. Is that everybody in your phone um, is specific there. Uh, so what it allows me to do is like make a level where like food is scarce and you're out in the rocks somewhere. And yes, like if you yourself are going to irrigate and grow stuff, then you have access to growables. But right now, like the only places to get raw iron and copper, the only place to do that is Prospector's Pass. So if you want to take some of that with you and you can't take the mine with you anymore, you could go into that level and just like grind it out. Hopefully that gives some good fun reason to dip around a bit. But if you unlock level 4, you know, fictionally doing something for someone's favor, like that would be a cool place to just say, hey, let me just knock all their prices down, which is easy work. And all those prices are just the way I enter them in the database. They're all just pivots off of the core price of the item that you would sell it at the market for. So like, you know, Tim tends to be more generous than just about everyone else. There's a lot of stuff that he sells for just like 110 or 120% of its value. Um, Otto is a little bit more profit gearing, but he tends to flip flap back and forth. So when you refresh his shop, sometimes all the stuff that he has in it is significantly more expensive. Sometimes it's significantly cheaper than it was. Sarah's pretty consistent. Karen switches back and forth from buying a bunch of stuff to selling a bunch of stuff. Big Biz Bill always buys stuff at what is, I think, the highest percentage of anyone. So they have some character to them, and it is modifiable level to level. So what'd you
We
total
had
out to?
we had big reveal in a minute. We had an item in here for showing an overview of the items that you're currently progressing towards. I think this is built into the way this screen works because they're sorted to the top.
Correct.
That's no longer a separate requirement or separate work.
As long as they're sorted,
Cool.
as long as that
Great.
work doesn't get lost, you are good to go.
Yeah. So yeah, sort. I had that in here somewhere. Sort. Yeah, the list of Chivo entries is sorted by your current progress, then complexity rating. Awesome. Yeah, okay. So I while you were talking, kind of ripped through the different pop-ups in ballpark to their complexity. The most expensive ones are the ones that show you all of the things that are impacted by the reduction, and the cheapest ones are stuff like new cash money, new deeds, because it's just an icon and a number. So I feel okay about the accuracy of these.
I think before we dig into this, we might want to consider prioritizing them. Like I could live without craft time reduction
Just the achievement in general.
for a while.
Let me see if there's any other spot that really cares about the specific type of achievement.
I will once again bow out for a second. Keep the coffee moving.
Sounds good. I will review all of these sentences. Yeah, I guess there is sort of like a class of task that's specific to those particular achievements. And they're sorted weirdly because this is in the list. This is in the order that I think I would have to do it for it to make sense. I guess what I could do is kind of take the type specific tasks and pull them to the back. Yeah, except these require the tags. Those tasks are related. So yeah, I went yard proprietor recipe. Oh, and then that's inconsistent language. Call it character here.
Or are you pairing them up?
No, I'm just reviewing kind of what order did I write all this stuff down in. So yeah, there's definitely there are tasks that impact the whole system, and then a bunch of achievement type specific tasks. Is there just a general priority order to the types that we're planning to implement?
I think the more I look at it, the craft time reduction and increased craft output are the lowest. Um, the more I think about it, we should just nuke craft time reduction because I'd rather that was handled with increased craft output. I think that's better, more tangible. It's like critting instead of attacking 4% faster.
Um, that's the system that requires kind of tagged items too. So that's good. I'm struggling to move rows around
All right, I put a big red X over it in the Miro. So it's very clear
here. Wait, so are we just never doing? Oh, sorry. Are we not doing this for early access?
now. I think we should get rid of craft time reduction from the game.
Okay. So you're saying forever and never?
Correct.
Okay. And what
Earned.
about increased crafting output?
That I think stays, and I think we could probably hold off on it for a bit. That one I don't think we can get rid of. I don't think we should get rid of, but I don't think it is as immediate a need. So everything else is gatekeeping. So it's true progression. Um, it's either giving you recipes, it's giving you more starting money, it's giving you a cool new yard, a new character, starting deeds, all of those like unlock possibilities. Increased crafting output is cool and expedites some amount of work, um, but like isn't it's nice to have, and I think it feels good, and I think people will appreciate it. But it's not this. I don't need it to create a web of progression throughout levels. Oh, auditor! If I ever got my hands on the 40K license, the things we would immediately do.
Well, that's what the modding community's for.
Indeed. That's the first thing we should let people do is mod the visuals on a van.
Yeah.
That's like primo.
Okay, so we can now. I believe I've nuked craft time reduction.
Mm-hmm.
and I've pulled the tasks that pertain to increased crafting output to the back,
Mm-hmm.
and look at us being responsible, managing feature creep. Let
Sometimes,
me ask you. Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you between unlocking new yards, unlocking characters, and unlocking recipes. Is there an order you'd prefer that to come in?
Recipes, characters, yards.
I'll probably get into this and do this in a totally different order than I'm thinking I'm going to do it now, and that's okay. I think.
Per auditor, add a guy on the phone that can paint a wizard and unicorn on the side of your van. That would definitely be. I think we'll end up there. Take a car into the shops, or some guy just airbrushes the thing for you, some sort of service. So, so the thing is, like, the recipes, the yards, the characters, the starting money, um, the starting deeds is like the lowest on that list. Um, Starting money is pretty high. I think, if I remember
I
correct.
can't move three at a time.
All right, so here's food for thought. The very first achievement you get, which essentially like comes along for the ride, um, in the tutorial, which is for having the magnet, gives you recipes, starting cash, and characters.
Okay.
So those technically are the.
Those are the three most important ones to
Mhm.
do first. Uh, Deeds is just going to come along for the ride because it's the same.
Otter, if we just expose the the directory where that van asset is, just put it someplace special. People can literally just put whatever they want in the entire thing. Like if they wanted to put what is that corn weird doom looking corn lord of skulls? If they wanted to just like draw that and have that drive up, it would work. If they wanted to put the USS Enterprise there, they could do that. We are going to have a very, very serious conversation about how moddable this game is when we finally like cross the Rubicon into really discussing Steam Workshop, because frankly, like I'm 100% fine if if the work isn't terminally expensive. Going, hey, if you are good enough and you make a spreadsheet, you run it through this thing, and the game runs, like you could re-asset up the whole thing, recost the whole thing, and be like, hey, here's my version. At which point, like, someone could be like, hey, this is like Adeptus Administorum version of the game. Like, I'm totally cool with that. It's just a matter of like if it's in our best interest to do that. All right,
Well, why
what's
would
the
it not be?
it could take an inordinate amount of time to do it in such a way where people could use it, and we felt still pretty good about the security of the game. That's it. Like, it's bang for buck.
Yeah. I think the way we have things set up, it lends itself well to that.
I agree. I mean, I think it could be something as simple as like we say, hey, you put your spreadsheet on Google somewhere, you put its address in this thing, and we just read yours instead of ours. And like all that requires is a functional explanation of like, and they would need some way of building the data out.
Yeah, the security thing is a little bit less of a off the cuff answer thing. I'm
Good
sure there's
answer.
also a legal component too, and I wonder what sort of disclaimer and etc. that Steam puts forward about Greenlight, not Greenlight, Steam Workshop
Mm-hmm.
content. Because like on some level, like they're also responsible for this ecosystem.
I mean, it depends. Like if it's IP related, like there are plenty of games where it's just like people just like it is understood that the modding is different than the obligation of the people making the software. I will look up the very specific language around it, but like I was making YouTube videos with where my YouTube channel like cut its real teeth was making, Unreal Epic Battle Simulator things with Ultramarines running around.
That's awesome. This is deep, deep auto lore.
It is deep auto lore. The channel still got like 6,700 followers on it.
It's a lot.
I hit the zeitgeist right at the right time. Ultramarines look like Ukrainian soldiers, colors wise. Zombies metaphorically attacking a city with X
Yeah.
number of Ultramarines in it. I was big in Eastern Europe for a while.
Auditors asking how hard it is for us to pull ourselves out of dev mode and put ourselves in player view mod. I'm not 100% sure yet what you mean exactly by that.
Oh, like how is it? How hard is it to transition from thinking about the game as a dev to thinking about the game as a player? That's mode at the end of that sentence, not mod. Depends. I don't find it all that hard.
Yeah, I think that's
I I would argue though that is a tangible skill that maybe you're okay with it based on your personality, but like Will and I have been designers long enough where like it's a requirement, and some designers struggle with that in their careers of like I'm so there's two players. There's I look at the game as me a player, and then there's I look at the game as an advocate for any player. And some people really struggle that. Some people go like, "Oh, well, I want the player to be able to do this," and what they're really saying is, "I want to be able to do this in the game that I'm making." And those are
yeah.
two different things. Uh,
It's a in some ways it boils down to your ability to be reflective, to self-reflect, and to self-observe in a way. Like it's absolutely a skill that you develop as you get into this kind of work. And I think it's even harder for engineers to make that switch because and so it's probably a lot easier for Z to do this than it is for me because I have to get into the code and that's a totally different mindset. And there are there are compromising desires there to get my job done quickly and to do that work without errors and in a way that's easy to maintain. All of that stuff has kind of nothing to do with whether the player is having fun. So it's easy for those desires to get in the mix, and that's like oh, alarm going off. I'm caring about my own shit rather than how this game actually feels and plays. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think just people's capacity for self-reflection is it's like a stat you have, right? Like I've met people who have no capacity for self-reflection, and people who are just you know, locked staring into the mirror of their own abyss, right? Uh,
I
it's
think
interesting.
it's also I will say like in a very practical sense, I routinely make decisions and posit things about this game that are not based on me enjoying it, based on like profile that admittedly is in my head and someone on paper of like who the game is for. I would argue that this game isn't really that much for me. I enjoy it a lot. Um, I would probably download and play it, but I download and play a crap ton of stuff. But like, I make an absolute mess out of that yard. Um, the things I enjoy about this game, um, I don't think are necessarily right down the line what I would consider like the core audience for the game. Um, I am making this game for people who do like to organize stuff. Um, I guess what I'll say, and this comes up where I'm like, oh, is this actually like player hostile? It's like I play this game in spite of this what I think this game is about because I think it's ironic and funny for me to do it that way. And I do think it's an important part of the game that if you want to go total goblin mode, you can. Um, but people that genuinely really like the core of what this game is when we get feedback, I don't play games for the same reasons that they do, at least a perfect Venn diagram. And I think that that is important. It's not just, for me, it's not just self reflection. It's about making an argument for some kind of experience with a game and trying to do that consistently enough where a few archetypes of players will appreciate that you made that game for them. Um, but like I'm actually
That's another facet of it that I struggle with because it's. I mean, in a way, it's empathy. Do you have empathy for this other way of enjoying this game that you've been working so deeply on? Not to say that I have trouble with empathy, but it's a challenge. It's always a challenge.
yeah, some of it's empathy, some of it is like there's a reason why there is a like product side of this business, and I'm not saying that everybody on the product side is at all good at this, but um, I who, what's the I can't remember. Some company has a quote where it's like if you try to make a game for everybody, you make it for nobody, and I believe
Yeah,
strongly
I believe that.
in that. And so like when I think about games that I've worked on, like when I worked on Lord of the Rings Online, like that is the kind of game that is I consider genuinely for me, like a gritty MMO is like right up my alley. And so I had to be careful to like separate church and state in my head when making decisions around that. In terms of Game of Thrones Conquest, I am not really a big 4X person. I academically and somewhat personally like appreciate the genre, but I wasn't making that game for me at all. I was making that very much for, the kind of player that wants to group up with optimally maybe 49 or 50 other people and like take over the world. Um, but like that style of gameplay isn't really my thing. And art, not even argue, like empirically, Game of Thrones Conquest is like the biggest, best game I ever worked on. Not just like financially for the game, but just like in terms of like reach and impact. Um, but I equate it to dungeon mastering. Like if I know the five people sitting at the other side of the table what they like and what they want to do, then that tabletop experience is built for that. And so quite often if I'm going to run some sort of game, I'll just ask everyone involved like how grim do you want it? How bloody do you want it? Do sexual content, this, that, or the full list of like tone and whatever. And then I'll make an experience that is like good for them. And so, some of it is just how I make sure that I don't get into this like personal magnum opus thing with the game and start making poor decisions because everything has to be exactly what I would want it to be. Um, I don't think that it's help. Some people can manage that, but I don't think it's always healthy to be, yeah, and how to shine a spotlight on each of them in turn. That's a very good point. Um, I don't think it's healthy to treat every game like it is like your most precious piece of self that you're like handing off to the world, and it's like an evaluation of what you think your favorite game is going to be. And maybe there's a little cowardice in that. I mean, plenty of great games are someone's magnum opus. I
Yeah,
just,
a lot of people start from there on their like game dev journey, right? Where it's like, I want to play a game that I want to make, and I think a bunch of amazing games come out of that.
and there are very, very big name designers that have made things that I probably could not ever make because they are such a like,
Yeah,
this is exactly what I want kind of thing. What comes to mind is like Bioshock. The series is very like hand designed, dictatorial, and like that kind of experience I probably could not make. Not because it's big, not because it looks good. Um, I also have a very deep appreciation for working with other people. The collaborative process of making games is like such a huge draw for why it's good. Like you just get these crazy creative things out of other people that um, that gets that can get lost if it's more than just your baby because you're making it. Like I love Cruft, even though I also said that like I'm not making it for me as like a player archetype. Like it's special to me, but but I don't know his best opinion, his only opinion. It's it's hard. It's a
it's
hard
like,
line to walk.
yeah, like Cruft is. I think there's something in Cruft that we wanted to say or create, but there's not like this feeling that Cruft is the game that encapsulates all of everything we want to build, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things where, if you approach this industry from the place of like, I want to make a game for me, like that's only going to get you so far. How many games do you really need? How many perfect games for you do you need?
Yeah. And I don't begrudge anyone who is on that quest. Because some really good stuff does come out of it. Um, but I really enjoy the process of like discovering what makes a game good and compelling to certain people. Um, and I would not want to uh, steer the ship in such a way that it like it's part of the reason like I'm pushing so hard to get this game into early access is to get other people to play it.
Yeah, that's the part of this that's so difficult without that kind of engagement. Like we using that D&D analogy, like you have literal friends sitting there at the table with you that you can talk to.
Side note, I
I mean,
also
it's part of why this stream is important, right? These
it is.
people literally right here that we can talk to.
It's funny as much as like we are on camera and out in the internet. Like I don't care, nor do I even really want to be like lauded, recognized as like I don't want to become some super important designer. Like I want to make cool games that give people a good time that they like, but like whether or not they necessarily associate that with me directly, I'm not sure that that matters. There's that they associate that with like go on entertainment so that they come back to a second game and go like, oh, that first one was pretty good and these guys do some quality stuff. Like that's important. Um,
Right. I say this stream is important to us because of what
yeah, the
that
interactivity. Right?
dialogue can do for the game. Not that.
We get to have these conversations open before we do the work,
Mhm.
which is huge. Like it's a massive advantage to get feedback before you actually, excuse me, book a crazy amount of time to like put pen to
Yep.
paper, put code down.
40 hours. That's what we've got for this arc of work, by the way, to
Yeah, I think some of it's
try
going
and
to go
bring it back
faster than you
around.
think.
20 to 40. Sorry, 40 was the high estimate. 20 to 40 hours.
I
Right.
think
So yeah, before I sink 20 to 40 hours in it, I've talked to you about it. We've put it out there for anybody interested in chiming in to say what they want to say. Like,
and as far as doing a good job of limiting our scope, like you can make any game at any scope. We've got two people, and so we're making games that are scoped right for that, and that's good. It's an amazingly good exercise of just like the number of things you have to just like be extremely realistic about. Yeah, is important. We have hit quarter 5.
time's up.
Time is up. It's a good meeting. Got a lot done.
Yeah.
Still got work to do to get this thing up on Steam.
Yep.
But not too shabby. Got a lot of stuff costed. Feel good. Feel good.
Yeah.
We got nice and philosophical at the end, which is always nice.
I hope that by the next time we turn this on, the rest of the meta loop yard subtype stuff is done, and there's a spreadsheet that you can start punching achievements into. That's my plant my flag on getting to that by Thursday.
We are I mean, short of me actually like testing and making sure, you did check in all the stuff in terms of when you start a new game, it's new gamed.
Yeah, I
Remember
checked that.
yeah,
Yep,
it's all
I'll push
checked
that.
in.
Yep.
Sweet. All right.
Going back to square one. All right.
Yep. I'm just saying, like now tonight, I could just like I could push Steam bill. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it tomorrow morning too.
It's also true. Good call. Goals are good.
Don't turn on the midnight oil.
Except for maybe the band. All right, folks. Thanks a ton. What window am I in? I'm gonna kill this stream. It's been a good one. We will